bill. We was going through the bill and we found exactly what the sister has a problem with. So on page 6 of that bill, if you look at it here, it says examine how New York State engaged in the interstate transfer of enslaved Africans and carried out federal policies in the furtherance of slavery. Number 4, examine the de jure and de facto discrimination against freed enslaved Africans, their descendants. OK, well, so freed enslaved Africans to freedmen, their descendants would be us today. And what she's having an issue with right here, which says and people of African descent. Why did you add that? Freed enslaved Africans, their descendants is all you needed there. So according to this what was read here, you're trying to crowbar African immigrants into this. According, if you say, look at the bill and what the bill say and your beef is with them, it says generally at both the state and federal levels of government during the period between the end of the Civil War and the present. See, that's a problem. Because not saying the end of the Civil War is the problem, but to the present. So that means based off the text, and you know anything with law, it's the letter of a law. You're saying basically African immigrants in New York can crowbar, the Democrats have literally on paper crowbarred African immigrants into this because it's a people of African descent. That is messed up. There was no reason for them to put in there and people because you're separating. You're saying basically the freedmen right here, their descendants would be Black Americans in New York today. And that should be it. But you say, and people? You're adding people. That's the finesse the Democrats are trying to pull with y'all reparations in New York. And y'all have every right to talk about this. Okay? And let's continue. Examine the lingering negative effects of the institution of slavery and discrimination on living people of African descent on the society in the state of New York. You see how now they're switching the language up? Examine the current condition of people living people of African descent in the state of New York to the extent practicable, including but not limited to economic, political, educational, and societal conditions. Recommend appropriate ways to educate the public of the commission's findings. See, they switched from talking about enslaved Africans to their descendants to African descent all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? That is the problem. And they're trying to finesse black people. And all before this, all into the history and all of that. They talk about how they formed the commission and all this stuff like this, right? And you got people on the commission. And I actually